three paths to being CMMC compliant. One is you lift your whole entire organization, put those 110 controls, 320 objectives, put them in place everywhere. You go through the assessment with everything inside your environment. The second is the opposite approach. You say, you know what, I want to not do that in my environment. I want to go over here to the side. I want to build a box that meets all these requirements, call that an enclave. And I'm going to go take the CUI out of my environment, drop it inside of that enclave, and then that thing is just secured and it's there strictly to meet the government's.
It's not just storage, it's processing.
Right?
It is an entire network. But yep.
You bring the user to the data, right? So I can help do things like have somebody overseas that needs to look at IDAR. I'm not sending the data to them. I'm bringing the user to the data, putting them inside of that box that is secured and meets all 110 controls. Then the third option is, well, I build that enclave and then I just migrate my whole entire company into that enclave. I migrate over to that more of a secure process. The difference between that migrate over versus trying to lift my whole organization is, if I currently have to make a whole bunch of changes inside of my environment, it can feel like death by 1,000 cuts, right? You're just constantly have to change a tool, have to do some sort of implementation. This is a bad flow for your average user experience. That migrate sort of rip the Band-Aid off approach. But most companies, the average, if I'm not talking about a specific person, can work in this kind of bifurcated. I've got my normal environment. Everybody keeps doing business the way they were. When they have to deal with the government's data, swivel seat, it's the old red computer that was on the secret network, right? Now spin over and work on that one, right? It's the same approach. We're just doing it now with a little window, virtual desktop on my computer that I can remote into to do that work.
Yeah.
And as far as which of those three options make the most sense to you, it's a pretty easy question, right? If everybody in your company works with CUI all day, every day, you need to lift your whole company, right? That's all they're doing. You need options 1 or 3. And it just depends on how hard it is to get to option 1. Option 3 makes the most sense. A good example of that is a company that has the accounting contract for, say, like a whole entire military branch. That's all they do is military accounting. Everybody's doing CUI processing all day, every day. That's a good lift the entire company up approach. The next one is if just some people deal with CUI. They can deal with CUI all day, every day, but it's just a limited number of users. Or if even the majority of users do it, they just do it a little bit. Maybe I only need to once a quarter actually go in and help with a bid or look at something. It's very rare that I actually see CUI. That's when the enclave approach happens. And as you interview actual people that need to do CUI and actually try to find it, put your finger on it as it goes through, you'll see that most of the time they're not doing CUI processing with their day-to-day jobs. They're doing other stuff and just occasionally touching CUI. And that's when that enclave model really starts to shine. Less impact to the user, greater adoption for being able to be secure, and then dramatically reduce implementation times, ready to be assessed times, and assessment risk.